Good evening, I'm Julie Chen.
Wake up, everybody!
But first,
I cannot. On my daughter's birthday. Disgusting. Anybody want cake?
I want to welcome you guys all to my big brother funeral.
Can't find an individual to hate, because I hate you all.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Big Brother podcast here talking about all things Big Brother, more specifically the events of this past week. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. Tony, we are 1 week away from finale night, and have you ever been so high on Big Brother?
Man, we are so close, and as always, it is so boring. In the last couple weeks, it just drags on. I'm so excited that this next week is just we have an eviction Sunday. I love
Sunday.
that shortened, but even then, the last few weeks have felt so slow. That's kind of what it is when the same person is in control, and we know the players well enough to know this is what they're probably going to do, even though this is probably the smart move for them, and this is the entertaining move that they're not going to do. So you just get to know them well enough that you just know what's going to happen based on who wins for the most part.
Yeah, and like we said, the live feeds definitely don't help when it comes to that aspect of it because there's nothing surprising on the live shows. But like you said, the live episode Sunday is going to be huge instead of having a week to get down to the final three and then another couple days until finale. So there's that. Great move. It's a start. Now we have just a lot of other things to change about the format of this show to make it better.
Yeah. But also there's definitely things to change. Absolutely. But let's not get into that right now. That doesn't seem helpful.
I'll be honest, this might be a downer of an episode, everyone, which I don't know. I haven't seen anyone who is positive on the season at this point. So
Really?
I don't know if we need to apologize. Because everyone I've talked to, everything I see online, it feels like everyone is in the same position. Either you're bored of it, or you hate the people that are left. You're sick of the format and the way that certain people just keep on getting power. Like there's like several different factors, but I don't know. Like I don't know many people who are like, "Wow, it is, it's going to be a great ending," which is a little disappointing.
I mean, there's potential for a good winner still, which I think is important. I also just think that I don't know, I'd put it like mid, maybe slightly above mid, honestly. Like I don't think it's a bad season by any means. I think there were a lot of people to root for, a lot of really fun players. That entire pre-jury was super good. And I think like nothing solidified until the last couple weeks here, it feels like, where it really, really set in. And that lose points just because the same people keep into power. But I don't know. I feel like I would still lean slightly positive on the season as a whole.
I think I would agree right now. I do think the winner will make or break it, but that happens every season. Like every season is determined by how good that winner is. And I think the best thing that this final week has is I can't confidently say who the winner's gonna be. Maybe we'll find out in the next couple days on the live feeds. But even like looking at the jury tonight, it feels like it could go a couple different directions, or even who's going to be in the final two. I'm pretty confident who will be in the final three. I feel like that's kind of solidified.
Yeah.
I don't see many hiccups that could prevent that, but maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
All right, well, let's talk about the big
lead off with
thing
Cirie?
tonight. Yeah, it's Cirie. Cirie is out of the house. 93 days, made it to the final 5. How do we talk about Cirie? Because this is going to be difficult because we have been defending her all season. I think we've been very much hyping her up. Maybe like I'll say for me, waiting for something. Like I think some of that was like, okay, when is it going to come out? I'm a little disappointed in hindsight of this season of her playing. How are you reckoning with your emotions of being such a big fan of her gameplay, citing her as a very strategic player, and then just going out like this?
So I think she's been checked out for a couple weeks. I think I attributed it to her just laying low, and I think it was a little bit of that. But I also think she just didn't care to play the game that much. And she just kind of fulfilled her obligations on what it looked like playing the game. I think she just knew the writing was on the wall too. It's like, okay, those two are in power, and I'm not breaking into that. I think overall, I mean, we've shared our opinions about Jared being an issue early on in the game, and she even said that tonight during her exit speech. She was like, Jared, she's like, I wanted to keep Red. Red was good for my game, but because of stuff with Jared, I had to get rid of Red. And just her saying that, knowing that that validated how I felt about that eviction, because I've had conversations about that eviction where it's like, she's so dumb for doing this. I was like, I don't know if that's necessarily the case for what she was playing. Anyways, I'm rambling. I think we went into this game with information of who Suri was without necessarily accounting for how different Big Brother is from Survivor. And so we had a different expectation, and so we continued to assume the best.
Yes.
And I don't know that was fair. And I think for me personally, as other Nick was constantly just being like, she's bad at the game, that made me dig my heels in even more and be like, no, she's great and you suck. And I'm gonna have to face that, and it's gonna hurt my feelings, and it's gonna hurt my pride. But I'm gonna be like, hey, Nick, you were probably more right than I was, but I still think it's not. I don't think she's bad at Big Brother. I think she just it's a marathon, and if you're not prepared for a marathon, you're prepared for a sprint. You're not gonna do well.
Yeah, and I think like there also is the element that she did make it this far being the name that she is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mhm.
like I'm not ready to just say she had a horrible season. I think she just hit a wall, and I'm not gonna say like I'm not blaming production, like it's the way the game is set up, but to a certain extent, like she never had power, technically,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of like being able to put someone on the block to take someone off the block. She never had a moment where she was able to prove loyalty. All she had
That's true.
was
Yeah.
a social game. That's all she played with all season. You know, like yes, Jared won an HOH and she got to, you know, obviously be in with him and stuff like that. She, you know, really gets a lot of credit for Matt preventing Jag from going home when he used his power early on. But like
Mhm.
herself not having any power, that's pretty impressive. Even Felicia had an HOH, you know? So
Mhm.
I think I take that into account as well. But like if you have to win something in this era of Big Brother. Like it's nearly impossible to gain those allies. You know, it's impossible to take out threats. Like she can't do that without having power, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd almost disagree, because if she's not winning anything, I think it's easier to bring her along. Because I think everybody loves her, everybody enjoys being around her, and also you have Suri to go like talk gameplay with if you ever like need advice on something or something. You know what I mean? But also like you're just never nervous that she's gonna do anything, that she's ever gonna take a shot or anything like that. Like America, the only reason America they took her out was because she was vocally against Jag and Matt, and so they're like, all right, but we get her out. Otherwise, I think they would have wanted to keep her and had a final three with her, because they were just keeping the people who are bad at competitions.
Mm-hmm.
It was even interesting because they were saying that she was better at competitions because they didn't see her in as many. I don't know. It was very interesting.
Well,
But-
don't forget these are still the people that got Blue out because she was a comp threat. So
In their defense, she was more of a comp threat than America.
sure,
that's a fair
but
thing to say.
on the other side of it,
Low bar.
that should not be the factor between the two of them.
no,
is
no,
competitions.
Certainly not.
Blue
Yeah,
is a
that
better
seems like-
guesser.
That's the focus. Like the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the focus of the game. Like you're focused on we need to win the competition to guarantee safety.
Mhm.
And that's just not, I don't know, that's not the Big Brother I think that we both enjoy watching.
No,
which is
it
tough.
isn't, and I don't know if that's a conversation we want to have tonight. I'm ready and I got thoughts, or we could save it till some postseason because I do think like this season has really exposed that to be true, where even the jury house tonight, which we'll get to, but like Cameron was kind of hyping Jag up a little bit, and he
Mhm.
he mentioned the competitions, but he also was like, what did he say? He worded it in a way where like mid-season, Jack turned it around and figured out his game. And I was like, no, he didn't turn anything around. He just started winning. Like, that's all it, you know what I mean? But there is a value to these players on, hey, this person's winning competitions, therefore they're a good player. And it's a very odd, I don't know, like, standard that we've set now of, like, how to play Big Brother. Because you're right, like, I mean, I mentioned it before, but, like, we've had a winner where, you know, no competitions were won. We've had multiple winners where they were not competition threats. We've had winners that have went to the final 2 with competition threats and beat that. You know what I mean? Although I say that, but like last season, you know, that was a social win, 100%. You know, Taylor won because more people liked her over Monty. So like, I guess I can't say that for the whole modern era, but this season, for whatever reason, that's kind of the key.
Last season's an anomaly in a lot of ways, and a part of me wants to like go look through it a little bit deeper. But how do you do that without watching the whole season? And I'm not ready to commit to that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Big Brother rewatches are real tough. It's a real tough commitment.
It's a commitment. almost 40 episodes for the most part. Anyways, yeah, it's this season. I feel like I almost want to save that full conversation for. I think it'll be very important to the final 2 that we're gonna get, assuming things go the way that they probably will. And so I think save that.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Cirie, it's just tough to see because we wanted to root for her, we wanted her to be successful, but also at the same time, we didn't want it to be Cirie being handed a win. So in a way, this is kind of good. Like we got to see her play, we got to see Cirie in the DR, like that was fun. We got to see her clean up some messes that other people in her alliance made, but it's not a season that people look down on because it's cheap that Cirie won because she played before or something like that. Or she didn't get to the end with her son. Like, oh, that's not fair.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's an interesting thought experiment to like go down though. Like if she were to get to the end and win, which I think there's a chance she might have. You know, I could be wrong, but like if she were to win with no or maybe like very few competition wins, would that be like an earned one or would it not be? You know, so I think like that's the more fascinating thing. Because I think like the way that I would view Big Brother is like, to me, if you're able to get to the end and win without competition wins, that's almost more impressive than if you were just to win your way to the end. But I think there would be that kind of, you know, asterisk next to her win where it's like, well, she's Cirie, so that's why she won. So yeah. But I guess you're right. Like the show isn't rigged.
There can never be. You can't just say like, oh, somebody who gets to the end without winning a comp and winning is good, because there's so much context that comes with that. Because there's people like, if somehow Victoria from season 16 gets taken to the end and people are bitter towards either Cody or Derek, and so they just vote for Victoria and she wins out of bitterness. Like, are we going to value that as her playing well and being good gameplay? Not necessarily, but if you're Will, where you're target number 2 basically every week, and somehow you make it to the end and win, that's impressive. You know, so there's so much context, and the same with like, if you're winning a ton of competitions, like Bowie Jane is the example that I'll use, because I think we need to get into. I really want to dissect her game in a minute.
The new HOH.
She's won a lot of competitions at the end of this game, but every single time she's done it to the advantage of the people who are the front runners for this game, and she's done their bidding basically because she's in an alliance with them. And so I discredit those wins because she's just doing what somebody else tells her to do. And is that fair? Maybe not, but based on the gameplay that I've seen, she hasn't done much. And so there's so much context that has to be added in each situation. So it's hard to make those broad sweeping questions, but I want to ask those broad sweeping questions because it's so competition centric lately.
Well, and I think to, you know, speak on Bowie Jane for just a second, I think like let's say like she gets to the end and does end up winning. Like, do you have to change your perspective then? And those wins, the competition wins, were the correct moves of how she used them, you know? Like, so I don't know. I think like that's how I view it, because it's like if you win the game, then technically everything you did to get you to this point benefited you, you know? Like, let's say she doesn't do this move. Maybe she doesn't get to the end and win.
I will say, I don't know that I see a path for her winning. Genuinely. I don't think there's a chance.
Interesting. I
And
would
here, let me
say
lay out. I feel like the scenario that you
Okay.
might propose
uh-huh.
is so she won HOH. She puts up Matt and Jag. The only way that one of them goes home is somebody else makes that decision. She doesn't get to make the decision who goes home this week. If she didn't win HOH and she
Mhm.
decided to vote out Jag, that's a move and that credits her. But if Felicia takes out Jag, if Matt takes out Jag, if Jag takes out Matt, that's a power move for them, and that's their feather in their cap as they go. And then if they make it to that final 3, I think they get the nod over Bowie Jane because she never made. I don't think the jury respects her, and I don't think she made a decision for herself in the game.
I see, and I don't want to like tip off my rankings right now. Maybe I don't know if there's a way to talk around it. I see her winning over Jag right now. I do.
Really?
I don't think the jury likes or respects Jag outside of Cameron, who also respects competitions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even the way that Suri and Felicia kind of made some comments like this week, I think Matt is still very likable, and I think he could have a good shot, but I don't think this is like we'll get into it a little bit, even though I don't want to because it's annoying and frustrating, but like there was some horrible jury management this week. I mean, just like the absolute last thing you should be doing to two people that will be voting for you to potentially win. And I think Bowie was just as guilty as like everyone involved in it, but like I think she gets off a lot cleaner than Jag or even Matt does. So
Why
I-
does she get off cleaner? You just
I
think people won't
think-
blame her as much?
I think Jag has had that reputation for a couple weeks now,
Okay.
as being this person to, I think, one win, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but also like the way he goes about winning and his attitude with it and the way he treats people with it. And so I think anything that Bowie does, like, yes, she is to blame, but I think a lot of it gets more pinned on him. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's impossible for her to win if it is a quote unquote bitter jury.
I think people would be really mad if she won, first of all. Second
I
of
do
all,
too.
I think you
Yes.
bring up a very interesting point because one of the podcasts I listen to a CarCast every day by Mike, this dude Mike who does Big Brother Gossip or whatever. He used to have a show. I listen to his CarCast every day, and he's been talking about it recently where every time, especially late in the game, once somebody becomes the target, everybody starts trash talking that person because if they make it seem like that person sucks, it makes them feel better about voting them out. It's almost like your mind shifts and like, no, they're the enemy and I need to view them that way. And so I think people have been doing that. I think we've seen Felicia and Suri do that all season. They trash talk everybody. And I think that's just a mentality, especially like Corey. Once it was down to Corey in America, like the amount of crap that they were getting on the live feeds, a ton. And I think Jag, I think you also get that when you're the clear front runner, because I think Jag, everybody in the house views Jag as the biggest threat, and they view Matt as a threat as well. But Jag is the one who's winning every competition, and so now I think, yeah, like you said, everything that he does is under a bigger microscope, and so everybody else might be doing the same thing. And I will say, Matt, I think it's having very good jury management as opposed to Jag and Bowie. But yeah, it's just very interesting how you just become so critical of these. It's kind of nasty to see how like rude these people get to people that they've been friends with for so long. And I understand it's a game and everybody forgives once they leave the house, but it kind of sucks. I don't like it.
Yeah. Did you keep up a lot with their plan that didn't go through? It was I think it was Operation Pressure Cooker or something, where
No, I don't know the
they-
name. No.
where they essentially wanted, because Matt couldn't compete in this tonight's HOH, so they were going to, one, strategically not tell Suri or Felicia who was going home, just to keep them on their toes all week, which, you know, whatever, blindsides are normal in other eras of Big Brother, not necessarily this one, but they wanted to keep Felicia up all night and have her so stressed so that she wouldn't sleep, and then not be able to perform in the HOH competition, which just feels like the most unnecessary thing to do to like a 60-plus-year-old woman.
You have strategically removed every competition threat in the house, and you feel like you have to do that to beat Felicia?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
come on,
So
guys. Come on.
This was, I mean, this was a plan. They talked about it for like 2 days. They're like, oh, I can't wait. Like, we're gonna see her crumble. We're gonna see her like she's gonna be so like, stressed out. Then they just turned to like isolation, which is again kind of lame. But like yesterday, they spent like 8+ hours just the three of them in the HOH room, and Felicia and Sari knew it. Like they knew what was going on, and Felicia called him out at one point, where she's like,
Yeah, they showed that in the show.
yeah. And Jack's like, just brushing. So I don't know. To me, I'm just like, you got three just big cowards. Like, just treat them like normal people. Like nothing
Mhm.
about this is strategic. And I think like you're exactly right. It's like once power gets to someone's head, you don't want to be a bad person. And I think like this game, by voting someone out, you are taking away their chance to win $500,000. Like that's pretty
Mhm.
heavy, And I think like anytime you think about that, that is tough to like reckon with. Like, am I a horrible person? And so I think like you're exactly right. Like there is, whether it be subconscious or consciously, like you create reasons why they deserve it. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the route they went down. And I think like it happens to a lot of people, like you said. I think, Heisem was a good example of, HOH-itis as well, like very early on. But I
Yeah.
think like the difference is once this starts to affect the way that those people like view you, then that's just bad jury management. It's a bad social
Mhm.
game. And it's like, yes, you're going to win competitions to get to the end, but again, these are two people that are supposed to be voting for you. So how does it make any sense?
And then comes in the angle, like, if Jag sees Matt spending a ton of time with him, he's like, oh my gosh, he's just trying to win over their votes. And Jag starts not trusting Matt anymore because Matt's trying to, like get jury votes. And it's like, yeah, that's part
Yeah.
of the game. Like, I'm going to spend time with these people. I'm not just going to isolate myself. I wouldn't want to isolate. No, Tony, be nice. Never mind. I was going to say, I wouldn't want to isolate myself with Bowie Jane, but that was mean. So I didn't say it.
Oh, Bowie Jane. She would be a pretty bad winner. Although, I would rather see her win than Jag at this point. I'll say it.
No, I'm not comfortable saying that.
I can't. Like,
All my eggs are in Matt's basket.
I think same, and even him, I'm not like. If I had to pick of the four right now, Felicia, 100%. Like, not even close.
Oh, really?
100%. I
I have
would.
no interest in Felicia as a winner.
I would love her as a winner.
I don't want to. She just grinds my. She makes me mad.
That's how I feel about the three of them. I just
Matt,
like,
I feel like
can't
I
deal
feel
with
like I
them.
don't get that from Matt. I understand getting it from Jag and Bowie. I feel like I don't get it from Matt. And maybe that's
I
just my
mean,
bias.
Yeah, I think this week definitely. At bare minimum, he at least contributed and play along. Like if it turns
Mhm.
out that like, oh, he just social game, he had to go along with the okay, that's fine. But no, I think Felicia is the only out where I could see this season. If she wins, I think this season is one of the top seasons. I'll just say that. That might be crazy, and I
Oh.
feel like that's unpopular, but that's the
Bad
only
take.
way.
Yeesh.
But like
Jeez.
she's the underdog. Like I think that would be a win where it's like someone from the outside, someone who has again like been on the block almost every week. Like that would be insane, and I think be a win for just like the social aspect of the game. Which again, I
Yeah.
think 0.1% chance that she wins. So I'm just getting that
Yeah.
out now before she goes home.
I'm still the kind of like you. I root for the underdog absolutely, but the underdog has to be likable for me. And so I know even if you think back to Big Brother 21, I didn't love Nicole Anthony like everybody else seemed to love Nicole Anthony and Cliff. I just wasn't, and that's not to say that I loved Jackson or anybody else that was on that season, but those two, like everybody seemed to adore them just because they were the underdog, and I was like, I still don't love them. Like I still don't care. I'm not interested in like rooting for them. I wouldn't be excited if Nicole Anthony won that season. And so yeah, to me, like just being the underdog isn't enough for me to want that to happen.
I think
I think it's
also
because of that deserving factor. But go ahead, sorry.
No, I think I also just really like Felicia too, though. So I think that fills in that gap.
She's in the classic talks a lot and doesn't do a ton to back it up. I'm not saying she hasn't done anything, because she has made some moves, but also she just talks so much in the DR and talks so much smack, and it's like, girl, I just wish you would back this up at all. Like win a competition. Win a competition in the last 8 weeks, please.
In the last, okay, so you had to add that.
That wasn't a crapshoot. That wasn't a crapshoot. Are we really gonna give her credit? That was luck.
I'm not gonna stand. I'm not gonna stand for this. She is by far the funniest person this season. I mean, did you see when she farted on Cerie's bed? That was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Remember when she was clipping her nails on Cerie? That's nasty. That actually made me hate her more. That's disgusting. Who in the right mind is like, hey, I'm gonna use your thing to shave off the dead skin of my foot. I'm gonna use it on your bed, and then I'm gonna clip my entire toenail off because it's broken.
It's just like her entire vibe, where I don't think we've had someone like her. Anytime we have like an older person, they always just kind of sit there. They either go out early or make it far. I think like Cliff was the exception,
She
but like
plays
Cliff
more than
was.
most, yeah.
And so I think like that, like her style of Big Brother is what I want to see more of. I want to see 5 more people in the house that talk like her, in the sense of like the way she strategizes and gameplays. Like I don't care that she can't back it up, because it's funny to see her consistently just like go up against a wall and like not be scared of like these 3 people that should have voted her out like weeks ago.
She gives me Rennie vibes a little bit.
And I love Rennie.
Big Brother 10. Yeah. And I don't love Rennie. Rennie annoyed me too. If it's somebody who just talks smack that like in no way backs it up, it just frustrates me. It's hard for me to handle. You can probably find an example of me loving a person who does that. Zach Rance, great example. Talks a ton of smack, not good, but I love him to death. Yeah.
I would say that Felicia is that archetype of this season.
The Zach Rance of this season?
I think so. That's how I view it. Her Mr. B segments, come on, that is so funny. When she addresses the producers, she like talks to the cameras. He's like, "Hey, Mr. B, we need some more eggs and flour in here. Can you hook us up?" It's so funny. You've never seen those conversations on the live feeds?
No.
It's so funny. Look them up. It's great.
Not interested. But I'll look it up just for integrity of my Big Brother consumption.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised, because there's been a lot of montages.
I think I've seen it. I've never heard of it be called her Mr. B thing. Like,
yeah, that's how, like, when the voice talks to her, is like, "Felicia, please put on your microphone." She's like, "All right, Mr. B."
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard her say Mr. B.
Well, you should.
My face.
All right, so that's enough, Felicia. She's gonna go home on Sunday, probably.
Do we think? Well, it doesn't matter what Bowie Jane does. Do we think there's actually a chance that Bowie Jane could win and leave Felicia off the block and let her make that decision? I don't think she would.
I think okay, so let's for just like a second, let's look past what they probably will do, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But like from just a strategic standpoint, if we're walking in and seeing these 4 people, like they should not waste this on Felicia, correct?
Nope, certainly not.
Like it is in no one's interest to get her out at this point, because she's not gonna win the final HOH. So if you're that scared of sitting in the final 2 with her, at least wait till then, right?
Absolutely.
But they're not going to do that.
No.
So that's,
I think because people think that other people will value their loyalty to their alliance, and I don't know if that's true. I think if Bowie Jane took a shot at one of those 2, or like left Cirie off the block because she's wins the veto, and Jack or Matt get taken out, they're going to be mad at Bowie Jane for sure. I don't think Corey and America and Cameron and everybody else, I don't think they're going to be mad at that.
right.
I think they're going to say, hey, you took a shot at a big game player. We respect that. That's what we want. So if the way is risking getting those 4 or 5 votes more important than getting the 1 or 2 that you're abandoning. At this point, I think, because I don't see another route for Bowie Jane, absolutely. I think Matt sees it too much as of a 50-50, and Jag the same way. They both see it as they both have. I think they both see themselves having the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think because both of them have like different because like Jack has won more than Matt, but Matt definitely has the social game better
Mhm.
than Jag does. So I think that's a fair assessment on both their parts to be like, hey, let's just see what happens. But like, I think it is interesting because there have been talks from both of them of will they actually take the other one to the final three. Now the interesting thing is those talks have not really included the final four. Like
Mm-mm.
taking a shot now, it's always been talked about like, hey, if I win the final HOH, I might not take this person. So yeah, I just don't know why you wouldn't take that shot now because if you're Matt or Jag and you make it to the final three with Bowie, Jane, and Felicia, that is a very high chance you win that final HOH.
Honestly, absolutely.
So
But the
it's
third part is
frustrating.
kind of a crapshoot. I think they changed it last year, didn't they?
I don't remember. That's the one where they usually have like the jury say something and
Yeah, it's one of the. It's like, did they say this statement or this statement? It's like, do you know
Mhm.
your? Oh, it's awful.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Matt should have taken? If you're looking at Matt's game from the outside, was it smarter for him to risk it and take Jag out this week and go into 4 with those 3, with Suri, Felicia, and Bowie Jane not able to compete in the HOH?
It's definitely more risky because I don't think Bowie would have liked that. So
Yeah.
assuming she does win HOH here, with or without Jag, you know what I mean? Like swap Jag for Suri.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but then again, nominations are kind of irrelevant. It's more about the veto, anyways. So there is that.
Yeah. And
Um.
Jag puts in work put in work with Bowie Jane. Like really, really like hung out with her a ton, has put in a lot of work. I think she takes
Yeah.
him for sure when it gets to that point. So that's just worth noting. I think those two are closer than Matt and her.
Yeah. 100%. And I do think it hurt Matt a little bit by having now like Suri will go to the jury house and campaign for him. I guarantee that. However, like the fact that he lost someone who I think Suri would have taken him to the final two, you know, like Suri was his, or I should say, he was Suri's like only real ally left. Felicia to an extent,
Yeah.
but you know, Suri and Felicia have their ups and downs. But
It's fascinating that they just could not stop telling people what the other was doing, Felicia and Suri. I think
I
more
love it.
Felicia than Suri, but it was definitely a two-way street where they like hung out constantly, but could not keep things to themselves. And Felicia's going and telling Jag. I just don't understand the strategic thought of letting Jag in and things like. Oh my gosh,
I love
Jag's
it.
never
Tony,
gonna take you, Felicia.
I love it. I want more of that. I want more of two allies that can't help but work together, but are so toxic and just spill everything. That's what I want. You're describing my perfect season of Big Brother.
Yeah, but I just need Felicia to not be on that season.
What else do we have to talk about? It's worth noting. Bowie Jane. Well, and Matt. Okay, so Matt, because he made it through this week, even if he gets nominated, he will tie the record for the longest time in the house without hitting the block. Okay? Which was Derek.
Oh wow.
Derek from 16.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah.
Bowie Jane, because this season is longer, she will break his record. So Bowie Jane will be officially the person who has gone the longest in the house without touching the block in history. So there's that.
That's crazy.
If she wins the final
must be
HOH,
really good.
if she wins the final HOH, that is
That's an unbeatable record.
it's unbeatable unless we up the days in Big Brother, which who knows what they'll do.
101 days? Worth considering.
Someone's like, "Oh, that's good. Write that down." How has no one thought of this? So yeah, I mean, that's kind of lame that she's, the record holder, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you always get that. There's always like the random person who's noted in a stat where it's just like you have no business being here. I think isn't like Christmas is high up in like most days spent in the house or something like that. And it's just like Christmas. One person doesn't belong here. Which one is it?
Well, she definitely didn't belong on All Stars either. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the jury house at all? We got a little bit.
I think the one interesting thing that I heard that I probably should have mentioned earlier, and it goes into the like how important are competitions. And Corey said something, and it was like, oh, what was it? I can't remember specifically what it was.
About Jag. He's more
Yeah,
impressed
about
by
Jag.
Matt because Matt didn't just win his way or something like that. Like
Yeah,
Jag.
it's more important, or it's more impressive to not have to win every time to stay in the house. And then it made me think, if you are physically capable of just winning every competition and winning your way to the end, how is that not a viable and impressive and valid strategy? Almost.
I
Like,
think
I feel like
it's
we've always argued
sure.
it's not possible. But
Uh-huh.
if it is possible, I feel like you can't discount the fact that he had to win because he did win a ton.
Sure.
And that's what kept him in the house. And he was able to do it. And he got rid of the people who were a threat to that and continued to do it. And he had a couple people who were lockstep with him that those are the only people he had to convince to not put him up.
I think
I don't know. I think it's just interesting
Yeah.
and worth thinking about.
I think where I see it is, I mean, clearly Corey doesn't value competition wins as much as like Cameron does, who, like I said, Cameron
Mhm.
was impressed by Jack, and Cameron even threw out Bowie Jane. Like it's worth
Mhm.
saying, Cameron did say like, "Wow, Bowie Jane picking it up with competition wins in the end. That's cool," you know. So clearly, that's what impresses Cameron. I think if you only win competitions and that's how you stay in the house, you don't get a chance to actually show like your social game or your strategic game.
Mhm.
And that's like we said with Cameron. I don't think Cameron was a good player because anytime he was vulnerable, he went on the block or went home. The only times he was safe is if he won. I think like if you look at Matt has been safe from competitions. He's also been safe from just being social. So, like, is Jag a better competitor? Yes. But I think like I don't view Big Brother as like a competitions game. I view it as like there are multiple elements of what makes a good player. And so if you
Mhm.
only win, you take away the chance from showing how you are good at the other things.
Mhm. I think that's fair, but I think it's hard to argue with the results of if you just win constantly. Like, because we've seen it a couple times in Survivor, and it's a little bit different because there's also the like finding an idol part of it, knowing that an idol needs to be played and just winning the challenges. I think we've seen a lot of people fall short, win like 5 or 6 straight immunity challenges, probably just 5, probably not 6, and then fall short and lose the last one. We've seen that a couple times too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times those people are viewed as the front runners. Those people are viewed as the biggest threats, and that's why they need to continue to win. And so if you are this massive threat and you continue to win, I don't know, does something have to shift in the game to nerf the physical part of the game? Is it just changing the competitions, or is there some sort of like social strategic aspect to like somebody can be pulled off the block or somebody can be made safe based on something? I don't know. I think it'd be maybe it's something worth considering.
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean, I definitely think there's a lot to change about the competition
Mhm.
part, especially after this season. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's probably the easiest fix is just make the
Uh-huh.
competitions more fair, more spread out.
I just think like because at the end of the game, and they don't always word it. I know Survivor they sometimes word it like, what are the 3 ways they like
Outwit,
judge?
outplay, outlast.
Sure. So like let's
Mhm.
just assume that there are multiple criteria that which you judge. Like competition wins, clearly that's an important one for a lot of people. Strategic, social, I don't know if there's a 4th or 5th, but like I think to me like a good winner has a little bit of all of those.
Mhm.
And so I think if competitions are the only reason you're in the house, then that's just like 1/3 of a good player.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like I don't know if I would like a winner that only won their way to the end. Like, oh, cool, you were safe for the past, 8 evictions. Look at this person who wasn't, but did the same thing as you. you
Mhm.
know? So I think like it's just valuing different things, but I think that's like my biggest thing is like by winning so much you do lose because like Jag, you know, he has showed that if he hits the block he'll go home. Like he's already
Mhm.
showed us that. So what has changed in his game? Nothing socially, nothing strategically. He just wins.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like I'm not satisfied with him as like a player, and where Matt so I don't know. I think I understand where Corey's coming from in that way.
Ultimately, I think though it comes down to like and I'm the same boat. I want a player who's well rounded in the three areas. I want a player who is socially and strategically very strong, but I want there to be a couple times where they win a competition that they need to win because if they don't, they're going home. Just once or twice, just to like show that they can do it when they need to. Like I love that clutch time aspect to it. But
Like
are
Bowie
we looking
Jane.
for our no? Are we looking for our idealized version of Big Brother or what the game actually is? It's the classic Jeff with Russell, where he's like, "That's a different game. The thing that you were trying to make this, that's a different game." It's hard because Big Brother used to be that and isn't now, so we have a little
Mhm.
bit more. I think we have a little bit more of a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as the game stands, and so if somebody just wins their way to the end, Jag is an interesting case because he did get unanimously voted out. But if Cameron had won his way, Cameron got locked back in. If someone were to win their way to the end, it's hard for me to not say you fought your way more than anybody else and you got here, even though you were the clear front runner and people were trying to stop you. It's hard to not want to give that person the money.
I guess, and I think like, and we talked a lot about this last season. I feel like I kept saying it over and over, but like what Big Brother is, it's getting to the end and getting the jury to vote for you. So
Mhm.
again, that changes season to season, and like I don't,
Yeah.
and that's where it gets frustrating because the frustration comes when your opinion doesn't match the jury's opinion, or your qualifications for being a winner doesn't match theirs, right? Like when people are mad because Taylor won last year, it's because they viewed a Big Brother winner should be this, and the jury viewed it as this.
Mhm.
And I think that is where you know it comes to needing to know your jury. Um,
Mhm.
and so in that sense, maybe I don't know, maybe it does rely on the social game more then because like that is social trying to. So I like if you think that the jury is going to vote for you, like values competitions, then sure, win your way, you know, and it could work. But if you sense that like, oh, maybe they want to see me do something socially, then I think that's where we've seen players strategically throw competitions, you know. So
Mhm. Mhm.
that's it's tough. It's tough, and I don't know how they're going to vote this year. You know, like I think we might see that. You know, like let's say it is like Jag and Bowie Jane or Jag and
Mhm.
Matt's tough because you know Matt is also physical, but like we could see a divide in are we voting for competition wins or are we voting for a more well-rounded player?
Mhm. Yeah, and oh, I had something that was gonna bring the house down and just wrap this up like a bow, and I don't remember what it was.
So did I just wrap it up?
I think you just
Do
wrapped
I
it
get
up like
final word?
like a bow. No, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just ultimately. Oh, wait, this is what it was. I don't like the idea of, and it's the nature of the game of Big Brother and Survivor. Understand that the goalpost moves in a way because you're not
Mm-hmm.
there. There's no certain criteria to win. So I dislike it because they could value what I don't value, and it could just be mixed up that way. But I do like it in that literally anyone can win, and you can win just about any way. It just has to be with the right group of people. Like there's I don't know,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
so complex, but it's good and it's bad, and it's interesting, and it's what gives us a podcast essentially.
Yeah, no, and I think it's to me I really enjoyed that aspect because there isn't necessarily a right or wrong way to view it, you know? I mean, we've been doing this
Mhm.
5 seasons now.
Yep,
Four? This is our fifth. This is our fifth season doing it.
this is our fifth.
And
Yep.
every year, you know, there is disagreements on far of like, is this person a better player? Is this a deserving winner? You
Mhm.
know? And I mean, it's been going on since probably season 3 of Big Brother, right? Where it's like we don't like this winner. So
Mhm.
it's just part of the game. And Unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna love the winner this year, but whatever, I guess.
You don't think you'd walk away from the season being happy if Matt won?
I wouldn't be upset. I think, like I said, Felicia is my top. Not gonna happen. I think of the three though,
Fair.
Matt. If Matt walks out, and if something, I need something more to happen. If like some move happens this week, and then Matt walks
Matt
away
takes
winning,
out Jag.
yeah, in either if he takes out him in the final 4 or in the final 3 and ends up winning, I think this season is fairly positive in my mind.
It would taint it a little bit if Matt took Jag to the final.
Yes, yes.
But it would also be funny if Jag took Matt. and
If
Matt won.
Jag took
That
Matt
would
and
be
Matt
funny.
won, that might be ideal.
Yeah. It's a
I
big
would-
win for jury management.
Yeah, it really is. But no, I still like this season, and I think that's the bummer is that like I don't want it to end this way.
Mhm.
You know, like I've been positive this whole season for the most part, as far as like it's been entertaining. I do really enjoy this cast.
Mhm.
When I think of like maybe we should wrap up talking about America's favorite player, which is something that voting has started on.
Mhm.
I don't think we have much to say, but just that's the thing. But like, there's a lot of people that like I would consider voting for different reasons, from pre-jury even to now. And so I don't know. Like, it's a good season. There were a lot of cool things that happened. I just think I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. But it's like these competitions that just let the same people win. I think that really hurt
Mhm.
it, and it lost momentum. Like, just imagine like if Suri just had 1 week of power, or like if America and Corey had 1 week outside of that double eviction, like how
Mhm.
things could have been just a little bit different. I'm not saying like Matt and Jag need to be out of the game, but like maybe one of them would have been in. Like, I want to see one of them in
Yeah.
trouble, just one.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think that's too much to ask at all.
Oh, it feels like it is. Who do you
America's
think's gonna
favorite player.
win? Yeah, who's the leaders right now? It's
I
tough.
think people probably love Felicia like you do. I think Matt. And I think normies love Cameron. I think they love the mess out of Cameron.
Cameron is huge in the Facebook community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yes. I think he has a strong chance of making top 3. Which again, like I said, when he went out, I've never seen someone actively campaign for a good edit like he did. It was
Mhm.
fascinating to watch and a very interesting strategy.
I
And
respect it, honestly.
And it worked because let me tell you,
Yeah.
the episode version of Cameron is not the same as the live feeds, and
Nope.
good for him, I guess. I don't know. He
Yeah,
rigged the system.
Yeah, I think a lot of people view him as the best player on the season, and that can't be true
It's
when you're
not
a
true.
target
That's
for
it's
6 straight weeks. It just can't be. Like, that's not how it works, because target management
yeah.
is a huge thing.
And like I said, the second that he wasn't safe, he went home. So like, but this isn't for voting for the best player. Do you think Suri's gonna get it? I feel like that's the obvious one, but I don't know if she's done enough, because outside of her being Suri, like, what has she done this season that has the characteristics of America's favorite house guest?
She's been good in the DR. People love her. People probably started watching because of her. I think the show tried to make her look better than she was. I think if you watch the live feeds, she was really boring. But
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that she's at least in the top 3 voting.
All right. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I think that's all we got. Is there anything else you got?
Oh, I got.
All right. Well,
Oh, wait, no, that's not true.
what?
Julie's comic book having the love one, another, and then the big heart thing, and then they're all happy again. That was pretty good.
Why have we had 3 of those competitions where they're at a booth studying like an image? It's so boring.
Because they've lost all creativity, and that's their idea of like, oh, this'll balance out the physical stuff, even though Jag is just as good at those as everybody
It's-
else.
Okay, we're gonna have to have a whole competition episode, I think, because I just have
Mhm.
so many complaints. But
Mm-hmm.
all right, well,
And that's the hard part. Anybody can be you have to be in good physical shape to do what consistently well in the physical competitions, I would argue. At least it helps a ton to be in good physical shape, but anybody can be like an intelligent person, and I think they try to find people who are relatively intelligent. And so everybody's going to be able to be good, like at least decent at this memorization stuff, but there's not necessarily the same level playing field in anything physical.
Yep.
So I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Just get it off your chest. Let it all out there.
It's just all completely off my chest.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, for more episodes, not game all personal. I think did we decide, are we recording Sunday? Is that something we said we would do?
Yeah, I'm planning to.
All right, cool. Well, we'll be back Sunday then, in just 3 days. Talk about this live eviction, where
It'll probably be
Felicia
short, but
probably will go out.
yeah.
But for more episodes, visit notgameallpersonal.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, really, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, at NGAPpod, at NGAPpod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony, and we will see you on Sunday.
Remember to love one another.